I pray that all of you all had a wonderful Thanksgiving day and a day of celebration. I want to start off by just thanking some individuals for sharing this broadcast with other individuals because they have shared this broadcast. In our study in the book of Ecclesiastes, we have other viewers that are helped as well. I want to thank Sister Ernestine Hogan for sharing the broadcast. I want to thank my Deacon Joe Dotson, who shares the broadcast with others, even when he's leisurely on the web. I want to thank Sister Brenda Zeno. I don't think nobody does more than Sister Brenda Zeno in sharing the broadcast. Sylvania Wobington, I see you. I want to thank Reverend Bobby Lenore for sharing the broadcast as well. Sister Jacqueline Zeno, can't say enough about you and about Shan and about Maurice. Thank Deacon Elliot Gould and his wife, Lou Gould, for tuning in and sharing the broadcast as well. I want to thank my sister-in-law all the way from Dallas, Texas, Frances Davis, who looks in at this broadcast and shares it with her co-workers and everybody else who is associated with her Facebook page. I want to thank my nephews, Jermaine in Dallas and Cam at Lamar University. Those two nephews really make my day when they share the broadcast with others, and others are helped by the broadcast. I think that the book of Ecclesiastes with Solomon is a book that really opens our eyes. We are able to deal with the person and identify with a person who is literally in the same shape we're in when it comes to our feelings about life. One of the messages that Solomon tries real hard to get across to all of us as we study the book of Ecclesiastes is this, that life is full of problems. I'm in chapter 6 today, and as you read chapter 6, you will discover that Solomon really believes that life is full of problems. Life is full of problems. He takes up this argument that is not a new argument, but it's an old argument. When he says that life is full of problems, he says what Jesus says in so many words. When he says, in this life you shall have trials and tribulation. Solomon says what Job says when he says, man that is born of a woman is of a few days, and those few days are full of trouble. Solomon takes up the position that Paul takes, that we are troubled on every side. He says life is full of problems. Life is full of trials and tribulations. Life is full of trouble. Life is full of difficulties. Life is full of struggles. Life is full of issues. That's one of the things that Solomon says to all of us, that life is full of problems. I love Solomon that he says that life is full of trouble and problems, but he says it does not matter really who you are. All of us will have to deal with some problems at some time or another. James said it this way, count it all joy when problems come your way. I didn't make that up. He said that count it all joy when problems come your way. Solomon says that every one of us, no matter who we are, will have to deal with some problems. It's only a matter of time. If you keep saying good night and good morning, you will run into some problems that you didn't expect, problems that you didn't want to show up, but just because you are living, you are going to have some problems, because Solomon says life is full of problems. It's not a problem to have problems, but problems cause a problem. I'm trying not to go too fast. Problems have a way of causing problems. Problems have a result. Problems can mess you up so bad that you go through life frustrated, that you go through life disappointed. And that's one of the things that Solomon keeps stressing in the book of Ecclesiastes, that our problems have a tendency to make us frustrated with life and have us disappointed about life. You say, why is it that these problems cause such a problem that I am frustrated with life and I am disappointed about life? He said, well, the biggest problem with life is that we tend to get frustrated and disappointed about too many mysteries that cannot be solved. God Almighty, I just said a mouthful right there. We tend to get disappointed. We tend to get disillusioned. We tend to get frustrated about problems or mysteries that cannot be solved. As a matter of fact, we are so perplexed by these problems that tend to not to be solved, till we start operating our lives on misnomers. We have the misnomer that we really can't enjoy life unless life makes sense. We believe that in order for me to enjoy life, life really has to make sense. Alicia Lipscomb, did you hear what I said? I believe that I only way I can enjoy life is that life has to make sense. But the truth of the matter is, just because life does not make any sense does not mean that you cannot enjoy life. Just because you can't make ends meet, just because you can't cross every T and dot every I, just because you can't figure it out does not mean you cannot enjoy life. I'm trying to help somebody today enjoy life, even though life is not making any sense. We wrestle with that misnomer that if life is not making any sense, we cannot enjoy life. But the Bible is full of many people that were a lot better than us, that life did not make sense, but yet they enjoyed life. Do y'all remember Job? Job was somebody. He had some things, but yet before the day could pass, he had lost all of his children. He had lost his she-asses, his camel, and all of that. But even though life didn't make sense, he still enjoyed life. Do y'all remember Joseph? Joseph was hated by his brothers. He was sold out by those who loved him, say they loved him, so to speak. He was let down by his boss. He was set up by his boss, his wife, but yet life for him still was enjoyable. Do y'all remember Elijah? Elijah had all kinds of issues that he dealt with, but he said, in spite of life not making sense, I still enjoyed life. Let me give you one more. Y'all remember Jesus? Jesus had a life that didn't make no sense. He came to save the world, and the world was out to kill him. It didn't make no sense, but he enjoyed life. I guess what I'm saying to all of you that are listening to me today is, just because life does not make any sense at all does not mean that you cannot enjoy life. I'm trying to tell you, if you live this life, if you go through life, life and stuff that you run into in life will not make any sense. But just because it does not make any sense does not mean that you can't enjoy life. I'm trying to figure out what keeps us so frustrated and disappointed about life. What is it that keeps us so frustrated, so disappointed about life? What keeps me on an edge? What keeps me rattled? What keeps me disturbed? What keeps me bothered? What keeps me upset? What keeps me having all of these issues in life? What is it about life that keeps me so frustrated, so disappointed, that I think that life is not enjoyable? Well, Solomon takes chapter 6. He takes chapter 6 of the book of Ecclesiastes, and he gives us three mysteries of life that has a tendency to keep us so frustrated and disappointed with life. I love this is because here in chapter 6 of the book of Ecclesiastes, Solomon gives us at least three mysteries that keep us frustrated and disappointed with life. I looked at these and I said that the mysteries that Solomon deals with are the same mysteries that we deal with on a daily basis. Solomon has some things as he went through life that no matter how much fame and how much fortune he had, he still had to deal with these problems. He still had to deal with these trials. He still had to deal with these tribulations. He still had to deal with these trials. He still had to deal with these difficulties. He had to deal with these issues. They just kept popping up. It didn't matter that he was Solomon. It didn't matter that he was King Solomon. It didn't matter that he was the wisest man in the world. He had some problems that just kept popping up that he had to deal with. He had some trials that kept popping up. He had some tribulation. He had some problems that just kept on popping up. He had some trouble that kept on popping up. He had some issues that kept on popping up. I believe that I'm talking to somebody that has some issues, some trials, some problems, some difficulties, some situations that just keep on popping up. And because they keep on popping up, you go through life frustrated and disappointed. Solomon said there are at least three things that keep us frustrated and disappointed about life. Can I give them to you? In chapter 6 of the book of Ecclesiastes, he said the first thing that keeps me frustrated and disappointed about life as I go through life is that of riches without enjoyment. Y'all missed that altogether. He says one of the sources of my frustration and disappointment comes from having riches, but yet I don't have no enjoyment. He says one of the sources of my frustration and my disappointment is I got everything, but everything I have don't bring me no enjoyment. What are you saying, Solomon? I'm saying we do get frustrated and we do get disappointed because we cannot enjoy the fruit of our labor. How many people are not able to enjoy the fruit of their labor? You can get whatever you want, but whatever you get doesn't give you any real enjoyment. I love Solomon because Solomon speaks from a first-hand experience. He has tried to bring himself some joy. He has built, if you go back and look, he's built arches, he's built houses, he's built pools of water. He has a stable of horses and chariots. Solomon has it going on. Solomon has men servant and prancing women servant. He has a band that wakes him up in the morning and the band that puts him to sleep at night. He has singers. He has everything that money could buy, and even the things that money could buy could not guarantee him any enjoyment. This man has firsthand experience. He says, I've tried it all. I gave myself to everything. I didn't hold nothing back from me. Am I talking to anybody that can say I have given myself everything? Whatever I wanted to do, I did it. I didn't let nobody stand in my way. I just did whatever I was big enough to do, whatever I had money enough to do. But all that I did not bring me any enjoyment at all. Solomon said what I was really doing, I was entertaining myself. And he says, I discovered that entertainment is only temporary. There are some people trying to have real enjoyment in life, and all they are doing with all of their resources is entertaining themselves. And entertainment is just temporary. I know I'm right there. I went to some entertainment places when I was coming up. And even though I felt good at the time, I discovered, Joe Dotson, that it was only temporary. Solomon says that riches without enjoyment will make you frustrated and cause you to be disappointed. Am I talking to anybody out in the audience today? Can you say with Solomon that riches without entertainment and without enjoyment can make you frustrated and disappointed? Can you say that riches without enjoyment can make you frustrated and disappointed? But Solomon goes on. He says, not only do riches without enjoyment cause me a great deal of frustration and disappointment, he said, but another source of my frustration and disappointment comes from labor without satisfaction. God Almighty, I got happy right there. Labor without satisfaction. You know, there are a lot of people that are doing stuff and they don't enjoy doing what they're doing. Somebody once told me that you can tell when a person really enjoys what they are doing when they can do it without getting paid. God Almighty, I just hit a nerve there. Somebody just turned their computer off. Somebody just stopped watching me on Facebook because they say they got to get paid for everything they do. But he says that one of the reasons that I am frustrated, one of the reasons that I am so disappointed, because I have labored without satisfaction. Y'all, I'm just trying to say we do get frustrated and disappointed because we work hard and our hard work wears us out. You can't even enjoy what you do. You ought to enjoy what you do. I enjoy preaching. I enjoy studying the Word of God. I enjoy talking to the congregants in this congregation. That's my big word today, the congregants in this congregation. I enjoy that. I enjoy every aspect of being a pastor of the church. I enjoy the council sessions. I enjoy the hospital visit. I enjoy the visitations. I enjoy everything I do. And one of the reasons so many people are frustrated and disappointed as they go through life is because they do some hard work, but they have no satisfaction. Maybe one of the reasons they have no satisfaction is because they are pursuing the wrong one to satisfy. They pursue with their work to gain the praise of men and not the glory of God. Everything I do ought to be for the glory of God, not for the praise of men. None of us should go through life thinking that achievements can bring us any satisfaction at all. Achievements cannot bring you any satisfaction. But real, true satisfaction is only found when we will do the will of God from our heart. See, you can do the will of God, but if it ain't from your heart, it ain't going nowhere. Solomon reminds us that if we devote ourselves to pursue of being happy, we can expect to be miserable. All Solomon did, he tried to be happy. He tried to make himself happy. And the more he tried to make himself happy, the miserable he got. But if we devote ourselves to the will of God, it is a fact that he will make sure that we enjoy every aspect of life. Solomon said that when I look at my labor without satisfaction, I'm frustrated and I'm disappointed. When I look at my work, when I look at all of the work that I put in and my work wears me out, I am disappointed and I am dissatisfied and frustrated. He says, when I look at my riches without enjoyment, he says, I am frustrated and I am disappointed. Let me give you my last one. Then I'm going to bid all of y'all good evening, and may the Lord bless you real good. But he says, what really frustrates me and what really makes me have disappointment as I go through life is that I have a million questions and I ain't got one answer. How many people go through life and they have question after question, problem after problem, and with every problem comes a question, and seems like the more questions I ask, I don't have an answer. Y'all, unanswered questions that keep on popping up can cause me to be frustrated and disappointment. I go through life and I look for an explanation, but I don't get an explanation that is satisfying. Y'all, Solomon says that real enjoyment of life comes when a person learns to live life without having to have an explanation about everything. Did y'all hear what I said? Real enjoyment of life comes from a person who learns, and I use that word, learns how to live life without having to have an explanation about everything. I don't need the Lord to tell me everything he's doing. I don't need to understand why this or why that. I need to learn that I don't need an explanation with life. Y'all, Paul learned it. He said, I have learned whatsoever state I am in, therewith to be content. I like what Paul said there. Paul said, I've learned whatever state I am in, therewith to be content. And maybe somebody can't enjoy life because they cannot be content with whatever state of life they find themselves in. I like that word content because content literally means a divine strength to handle every situation that comes my way. God has placed a divine strength within me. It's not me, y'all, I have to tell you, but it's a divine strength that is on the inside of me, Joe said, that really helps me to deal with every situation that comes my way. Y'all, when you have divine strength, you can have peace in whatever your lot is in life because of what you know. Maybe that's the problem. I have too many people that listen to me that are living on what they heard and what they believe when you ought to have a sense of knowing. There are some things in this life like that I need to know. Like Job, he knew the Lord giveth and the Lord taketh away. So he said, blessed be the name of the Lord. Lost everything he had, but he said, blessed be the name of the Lord. He was able to enjoy life because of what he knew. Like David, he knew he had been young and now he was old, but he had never seen the righteous forsaken, nor his seed begging bread. Did y'all hear what I said? You need to know something. You need to know that if God has started a good work in you, He will finish the good work that he started. Y'all, you need to know something. Y'all, what Solomon basically says in chapter 6 in conclusion is that you don't have to have an explanation about everything that is going on in life for you to enjoy life. Just remember this: God gives you enough information not only to encourage you, but also to enable you. You missed that right there. God gives me enough information not only to encourage me, but to enable me as well. The real enjoyment of life comes from knowing that life is a gift from God. And since it is a gift from God, I ought to enjoy it. Since I know life is a gift from God, not only should I enjoy it, but I should also accept it. Y'all, when I enjoy life, when I accept life, then I understand something that maybe the average man don't understand. I understand whatever happens to me happens with God's permission. Whatever happens to me happens according to God's plan. Whatever happens to me happens with God's purpose. Whatever happens to me happens with God's protection. All day and all night, angels keep watching over me. And y'all, whatever happens to me in life happens for God's praise. It turns out for his glory, but it really turns out for my good. To God be the glory for all of the things he has done. I sure hope to see you on Sunday morning as we start our Christmas celebration to tell you the message of Christmas. Come to Jordan Grove. Let me shake your hand. Let me hug you. Let me embrace you with Jesus' love. We'll be looking to see your face in the place. And again, if this broadcast has been a blessing to you, the least you can do is share it with somebody else. We sing the song all the time. If I can help somebody as I pass along, if I can cheer somebody with a word of song, if I could show somebody that they're traveling wrong, then my living is not in vain. Share this broadcast with somebody else, because somebody else is dealing with a life that's full of problems and they cannot enjoy life. But they can enjoy life if they embrace life like we embrace life and just learn how to be content with whatever state find themselves in. May God bless you real good. I've enjoyed this time spending with you.